I love a special request. This is from someone who is having problems with walking, having a problem with strength in the feet and the ankles, probably caused by muscle imbalance, and that happens to everybody, whether it's Parkinson's or not, because we tend to overdevelop one set of muscles and not the other. We'll be talking about muscle balance throughout all of the video. What I'd like you to do is be barefoot or wear a nice tight pair of socks, and this is not a shoe that is flexible enough to do these exercises well. This shoe is, very few people have an actual dance shoe that ties on, but that is about the only shoe that I would like to see you do these exercises using, or as I said, you just won't get the full benefit of the thing. When you're doing the seated exercises, elevate your feet and make sure that your feet can move freely, but that they're supported well at about the calf level. We'll move on and you'll see what I'm talking about as we get into the video. The easiest way to warm up your ankles that I know of is a little ankle circle. And you don't want to go fast with this. You just want to go nice and slow because you're warming up. And I like to do them both at the same time. And of course, if you want to be real snappy, you can do them both at the same time. This way, and then go the other direction. If you're doing them like this, you're going to want to go in the opposite direction so that you do maybe 8 this way and 8 this way, and that's nice and warmed up. And those should feel like you've really exercised all of the muscles all the way around. We're going to flex and point at the same time. Now this is a flex where you pull back, and that's a point, obviously. Now when you flex, just barely pull them back and just barely point. Flex and point. Flex and point. 2 more. Flex and point. Flex and point. Now, we want to do a flex, 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 because that pointing motion is more of a natural motion when you're walking, which means that we have strengthened underneath here, but we haven't strengthened up here. But that pulling of the muscle back, that's the important thing. It's strengthening all of the muscles here and up here as well. Remember, everything's connected. I like to say that the toes bones are connected to the nose bones, but it's not quite that way. But let's flex, flex, 3 and 4. Now, what I'd like you to shoot for in this eventually is a good point and flex, a good point and flex, and when you're doing your flexes, to flex and hold, not hard at first, but after you get used to it, flex and hold. And you're going to really feel it. It's also going to stretch back here, but this is strengthening this, and that's going to help create muscle balance, and that's going to help you with your walking because it's going to let you raise your toes easier, and you're going to have better balance in your whole body. Then what I'd like you to do is flex and point at about this rate, and what we're doing here is kind of practicing walking, doing the opposite with one foot that you're doing with the other foot. And the flex and point, of course, is working on that muscle balance. Now, you can't see it that much inside of my socks. You're just going to have to take my word for it. But I'm going to be raising my big toe toward me. I don't know. Can you see that? Raising just the big toe. Raise the big toe, then curl your toes and relax. Raise the big toe, curl your toes, relax. Raise the big toe and hold it, hold it, hold it, curl your toes and relax. Raise the big toe, curl, and relax. Okay, now why are we doing that? That's because we're trying to get the muscles right in here to work more independently, where they almost always work together with the toes, I want them to be working these muscles in here and this muscle right here. The big toe is the balanced toe. If they take the big toe off for any reason, they almost always replace it with something else because that's your balanced toe. You lose any other toe in here and they're probably not going to replace it, but that's your balanced toe. So you're going to want to really work that balanced toe. Let's do it again. Lifting the balanced toe, little curl. Lift and let's hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it. Curl. 2 more. Lift, 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 curl, and lift, 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 and curl. Now we're going to do one more seated exercise. Put your heels together and try and drop your feet apart. Do a little bit of a flex. Remember, that's the flex. Drop them apart and relax. Flex, drop, relax. Wow! Can you feel it? Out. You're feeling it all the way down in here. You're feeling it back here. You're feeling it through almost every part of your foot and lower part of your leg. And lift and out, out, out. Relax. Lift, out, 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 and relax. Now these are really good. You can do these in front of the TV set. You can do them while you have the computer in your lap. You can do them while you're reading. Just make sure that you have that little bit of an area so that you don't have them stuck up here because they're not going to move quite as well when you're doing your flexes and points. Now we're going to move on to some standing exercise. I'm standing over next to a piece of furniture so that I can hang on to it for stability so I can start doing these exercises. And I really wanted to zoom in on the feet, so I'm afraid you're just going to have to put up with a voice and some knees. We're going to do a thing that I call foot rocking, and while I usually have you do foot rocking by going up on your toes and back on your heels, I'd like you to go up on your toes, back on your heels, put it down, back on your heels again. So up, back, back, up, lift those toes, lift the toes, up, lift, lift, up, lift, lift. Again, we're strengthening all of this business in here, just like we did when we were sitting down and we were doing the flexing. We're still doing a flex, but this time we're adding some gravity and weight to it, the weight of our body going up, the weight of our body holding ourselves here and lifting. We're going to do this again, one of my favorite exercises for balance in the legs. Lift, lift, and one more, and lift, lift. Remember, when you're up on your toes, you're probably already real strong back here, but you're not so strong doing that lift business, and those are the ones we're working for. Now we're going to do a roll on your feet sideways, and with that, I want you to just roll back and forth. Now you're supporting yourself again with one hand or both hands. I like to work at a sink with people in the kitchen because they can grab hold just like it's an exercise bar. But you see what I'm doing? I'm rolling. My knees have to accommodate this. I'm stretching and bending my knee as I roll to the outside and inside of the feet. I think that it's better to roll to the outside and inside than to try and roll this way. It's too hard. So just roll and roll. You're going to feel the whole of the foot working in these areas and stretching here and tightening here, which is not an easy thing to do with ankles, that stretching and tightening on the inside and outside. You can do it front and back pretty easily, but not side to side. Remember to accommodate with the knees. Roll, 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 and roll. Now, what I'd like you to do is a toe up and a heel up. Now, what I mean by that is you're going to bring a toe up on one foot, the heel up on the other foot, and change. Now get the toe off of the floor as you're doing this. Notice what's happening with my knees. I have to go forward and back. And this is making a simulated kind of an overstepping, a simulated step, as though you were walking and you were walking like this. But this way you're able to stay stationary and hang on to something and still work the muscles and let them think that they're walking. Now we're going to do a split leg push off. Now what I mean by that is that you're going to split your legs apart, forward and back, and you're going to do sort of what we were doing before, but just rolling forward and back. You still have your hand on something for stabilization, and you can see that the front foot comes up and the heel's down, and then you roll and pretend to push off. Push off with this as though you were walking. But you just turn it into a kind of rock and roll exercise in place. And switch feet, split, lift to start. You're standing flat-footed in the back, and then push forward with the back foot. Push forward with the back foot. Push forward with the back foot. Notice that I'm bending my knee on the back leg just a little, which causes the front knee to also bend. That's just fine because we're wanting to work the ankles. Just a couple more. Remember, if you see people who are dancing, when they're dancing, they're up on their toes and they're moving around like this. You don't see them turning flat-footed, and you don't see them turning on their heels to turn. And that's what we're working toward, is to get the body back to a natural balance and moving forward, and remembering I want to be forward on my feet. It helps with turning with Parkinson's, it helps avoid the shuffling, and it helps also when you start using it, you'll start lifting the toes a little bit more as you go up onto stairs and the like. Now, this is just the neatest thing, and I saw this when my dad was having therapy, physical therapy, and you use a good thick sofa cushion, and you can practice, again, holding on to something. You can practice walking, and your feet are going to have to accommodate what you're doing. As you're going up and down, each time the foot is going to hit just a little bit differently, and it'll wobble back and forth, and that allows you to start practicing an uneven surface in a controlled manner. And then what I'd like you to do is go forward and back. Do that split again and lift as though you're walking. Again, you're going to be kind of rolling a little bit. Don't use too thin of a cushion, and don't use too soft of a cushion. You want baby bear. You want it to be just right. Walk in the center and then split the other direction. I always wanted to have something like this except about 12 feet long, so that you could really walk a long distance and have somebody walk with you, and then make yourself have to work and really get those feet where they're supposed to be. And back to center. And while we're walking, we're going to do one last exercise, and that's called the heel walk. And it's flexing the foot, and you're actually walking on your heels. Now, don't do this in socks or bare feet on a hard floor like I'm showing you here. Instead, go over to your carpet and have somebody hang on to your hand if you are a little bit unbalanced or unstable, and walk with the toes pulled up, and do that for increments of perhaps 15 seconds, and do them for about 4 times. So, now that we've been doing these Parkinson's exercises, I'm going to let you know that they're going to be on Facebook in a list so that you can copy them. Please feel free to share with your Parkinson's support group.